Welcome to Combat Habit number 2. This is part 3 of this breakdown thing here, and how to prevent it, or how to prevent this from happening to you, and then the roll down, and on the other side of that, to have you being the victim of what she's doing, how to prevent that. So I spoke about that in the other 2 videos, and I went really far on fighting in controlled environments versus street fighting where there's not any controlled environments. And for the record, if anybody's watching for my YouTube channel, I'm probably going to try to get these to Instagram. I don't know how to do that. But anyway, when I figure that out, they'll go there. The thing is that your ability to adapt in a fight will prevent this tuck and roll from happening. Your ability to know your awareness of where your opponent is when they're in a grappling move. Right here, like I said, fight's over if I was her. Because I would have never let his arm go. We wouldn't have went to the ground. I would have just held him right there. See where her legs are? She could have squeezed the hell out of him and started pulling his arm into him right there. Now for him, like I said, his escape is super simple. Fall, right arm, fall straight to your left. You see, he was directly in a dead horse stance. See, he's in a horse stance. He gets in a horse stance right there. So, yeah, it's a modified horse stance. For those who don't know what the fuck a horse stance is, this is your horse stance. It's a deep sit, though. He's not in a deep sit, but he's in a sit. So watch. See, he squats, and then she tucks him and rolls him. Now, there's 2 possibilities of who's going to win this fight, and by sure the video, she's won, but the way to prevent that was when she jumped up and locked her legs around and she grabbed his arm. Before that, when she blocked him, she had him. That's the way she would win, just choke him out. Now for him, when she grabs him, the second she transitions, he falls and elbows her in this area. It would be so much easier for him to win. Watch, you'll understand what I mean. Gonna start all over. See, she blocks him, she twists him. Right there, she has the fight. She let go of his hand, and now they roll to the ground. See, she's got him. Alright? See, in a slight horse stance, and they go down. Now, right here, he can win. All he had to do is just fall forward or fall to the left, where his elbow is into her body. See, she jumped right into the elbow. And right there, when she released him, all he had to do was just drop. Elbow, right in the gut. Just like everybody else, you're a human being, and if you can't breathe, you can't hurt anybody. And that's me breaking it down. And then I went into deeper details on fighting in controlled and uncontrolled environments. In other words, UFC versus street fights. Then I talked about how UFC fighters can go outside of the UFC and get their ass beat. And if you think it hasn't happened, it has. And if you think that a street fighter can go into the UFC and not get his ass beat, it's not going to happen, because he's changing his environment, and if he's not an adept, and he doesn't know how to adapt quickly, they're going to eat his ass up. And it's just that damn simple. And from speaking from experience, when I boxed my nephews and shit, God rest my nephew who passed soul, my nephew who passed and my other nephews, they refused to fight me this way, the martial art way. So, I can take a loss or 2 to make them feel better, but see, in a real fight, it ain't going to happen. Because I'm not going to sit here and just try to outbox you. That's not what I do. I don't box. I do martial arts. I'm going to out-martial art the fuck out you, and that's all to that. I'm going to be better at what I do by fighting my fight versus me trying to fight your fight. And that's the thing you have to understand about fighting. You cannot get lured into somebody else's fight. Whether you're in a controlled environment or a street fight, you cannot let yourself you cannot let yourself get locked into their fight, because then you've given up your advantage. Now, if you can lure them into your fight, or if you can change their fight into your fight, you have a better chance of winning. I'm pretty sure none of you are following this concept right now. But after class, I'll make another more genuine video on martial arts. I can't do it now because it's raining, so I can't take the computer outside or any other cameras that I have. But I can tell you that off the bat, when it comes down to it, your adaptation, your skills, and a little bit of luck can get you really far in a fight. Where if you think, oh, well, I'm just that skillful. even if you're just as skillful, there's always someone who's going to have just as much, if not more, skill than you, and you need to be prepared for that. Which goes back to your ability to adapt will either be your saving grace or your downfall. Because if you can't adapt, then it's your downfall. If you can adapt, it's your saving grace. This bowl was confusing me for a second. And the thing is, you have to be able to do both. And again, having skill and a little bit of luck doesn't hurt. But for all medicinal purposes of what I was trying to break down was, she has him in a lock from the jump. From the minute that she pushes his arm out and locks it, she has the fight right there. The extra isn't necessary, which is another thing. I wanted to chime on this before I forget when it comes to martial arts. Don't do extra. If you are making a movie, cool. If the director wants extra in a movie, cool. Because it's a movie. If it's part of the wrestling world and the wrestling montage where you need to do extra so that the fans will stay focused and pay attention, cool. Because it's extra and it's necessary. In a real fight, extra will never fucking ever, under any circumstances, no matter who tells you anything, unless Jesus Christ himself shows up on the battlefield, extras are not necessary. I will show you extra again. Fight's over right there as far as I'm concerned. For both sides. That's the ending position. That was extra. See how she twisted him up, got him back there, she let go of him. See, now she's done too much. Right here, fight's over. Squeeze and pull. And not the penis. Right there. She's got him. She let him go. See, he put his head up to protect this other side because she could have got him with an overreach or a round cross. But she's going for the extra. In a real fight, extra is not necessary. This is where it ends right there. No. And if I'm on the receiving end, this is where it ends. When she jumps up, see, my elbow would have hit her right in her gut. And it would have been reflexively, it would have been reflex and instinct is what I was trying to get at. Right there. See, he almost instinctively elbowed her anyway. And that would have been me. Elbow. Because it's the closest move to her. I would have elbowed her or I would have kneed her in the ass. One of the two. Okay, she jumped all up on me. I'm in a horse stance. So I can elbow her and I can fall on top of her and pin her. And we can go into jiu-jitsu. Brazilian jiu-jitsu rather, instead of regular jiu-jitsu. But right there, that was a judo lock. And she could have put him in that judo lock and choked him out. Because she could have adjusted and adapted and got behind him and squeezed and reeled up on him. No, like I said, I can show you better than I can tell you. So, no, I don't have a training partner. But from there, she could have kept that and spider monkeyed around his back and started pulling on his back arm and just totally ended this whole damn fiasco instead of doing extra. See, here, fight's over. Extra. Why do that? I know it's a video. I know I'm not insulting the video because it's cool as shit. I love the video. But for all medicinal purposes in real fighting, I would say useful, not practical. Because once you get up on your opponent, you have them. When you are connected to them and you got them here and they're covering, you got them here. It's right between there. Yeah, you have them in a lock. Because you can pull this part of their arm into their neck. You can do so much from this position that she's on. I wish I could have paused it because then I would have been able to actually break it down better. But there's so much more that you can do from that position that she's in instead of the tuck and roll and dive through thing. Fuck all that shit. Now, back on your types of your fighters. So you have ground and pounders, your wrestlers, your strikers, your counter strikers, your clinching guys, and then you have your straight stand-up fighters who also have ground and pounds. Because if you're very well rounded, then you shouldn't have a problem adapting in a fight. All right. And wrestlers are probably the most well-rounded fighters that are on the planet. But it doesn't hurt to have a stand-up game as well as a ground game. I don't have a good ground game. I did get taught Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the Army, but give or take, I pass. But it's really all a matter of adaptation and stuff like that. Because there's things that you will do in a fight. There's things that aren't at all necessary. And the things that are all necessary is what I call extra. You don't ever need to do extra in a fight. under no circumstances whatsoever should you ever be in a position where you have to do extra. Yeah, because extra is not cool at all. Yeah. So, I can tell you that the extra you need in a fight, if it's not in the best interest of your survival, then you don't need to worry about it at all. So, yeah, the thing that she's doing is extra. So, I can tell you that in doing so, you have to be able, I'm sorry, background noise. You have to be able to really adapt, readapt, adjust, and adapt. Now, when you're fighting someone who's ground and pounding, or when you're fighting someone who's grappling, you need to know how to counteract and stuff like that. Now, I did a video. Can y'all get away from my door? How about getting away from my door? Anyway, it's almost time for my class too. Could you get away from my door? Anyway, I'm sorry. Anyway, you know. Y'all are getting all that. Anyway, I lost my train of thought. But when I was talking about my video, I can't remember. If you watch my video, I'm teaching you about I was talking about another video. If I ever find the video again about how to prevent a double underhook or double leg takedown and stuff like that, alright, in controlled environments like wrestling, you probably aren't allowed to really elbow smash the shit out of people because it's not becoming. Where in real life, when someone grabs one leg and they try to do a single leg or double leg, it's so many possibilities of stopping that. But these are things that they aren't really teaching you in a dojo. And these are things that you have to learn how to adapt to in the street. And I don't know what the hell the name of the video is, but I do have a video about how to stop that. I just don't have a training partner to actually demonstrate how and what you're supposed to do to stop that. And in some cases, takedowns are unpreventable. Alright? Let me explain that. Because, alright, I'm a strong believer in size doesn't matter in a fight. I'm a strong believer in the bigger you are, the better I like it, because big guys always like to try to throw little guys on the ground. And from experience, I have been able to prevent that from happening by quite a few things of adjusting and adapting. But most of the people, when they come in to pick you up, like if they're going for a double leg, they're coming in at your hips. They're coming into a fucking knee. You know, if taught properly, they're coming in. They're coming low, and I'm already low. Boom. They're coming into a knee. If it's me, they're coming into a knee, just straight up and down. They're coming into a fucking knee, and they're also coming into an elbow. And if push comes to shove, at the same time, my knees and elbows are going into there and into the back of their shoulder blades. Now, the reason why I tell people that is because I plan on stopping their functions, you know, and I plan on making sure that I'm going to be the one breathing after the exchange, and they're not going to be breathing. Now, this works on most people. It just depends on the location of their body. When you drive your knees into their sternum and your elbows into their back, you're clapping on them. So you're bringing your knees and your elbows up at the same time. So you're going to hit 2 targets at once, or 4 targets at once if you're accurate here, because this is going to direct into ribs and lungs and intestines and stuff like that, and shoulder blades, because it's going to be the closest part of their body that you're going to reach. Now, if you're really nasty and you're really accurate, you just hit them square in the freaking spine and call it a freaking day. The problem is, how tough is your opponent? How strong is your opponent? How large is your opponent? How good is their skill level? How great is their recovery? That's also the ones you need to ask yourself. How tough am I? How strong am I? How good is my skill level? How good is my recovery? How fast can I adapt would be number 6 in the midst of this fight. Because I'm not a strong guy. I'm 120 pounds. Period. That's it. If I'm getting attacked by someone the size of the Rock, I'm going to need every aspect that I can get. I'm also over the 15-minute mark, but I'm just going to keep going and finish this off because class starts in like a little under 20 minutes. Maybe 20 minutes. It's 12:11 now, so it starts at 12:30. So, I'm gonna just keep going. If a person is single legging or double legging, you have to learn how. Like if you're gonna fall on your back, you need to like know where to place your knees on your opponent because they're coming to scoop you and try to pull you. When they double leg and single leg, they're pulling you towards them so that they can mount you and ground and pound. Alright? Your job is to prevent that. But in the events that you can't, you need to know your positioning so that if you have Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training, you know you're going to be okay on the ground. I have just enough Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training from the Army to know I'm going to be okay on the ground, but if this stays on the ground too long, I'm probably going to lose. I don't know Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu like talking about it. I just learned what little bit I learned in the Army. I don't like it. I'm old school. I'm a stand-up fighter. I have no ground game. I have enough to survive, but I have no ground game because it's not something that I train in religiously like I have done over the years of living with my stand-up game. My stand-up game from my martial arts with Kung Fu, Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, Karate, Taekwondo, Kempo, Aikido, what the hell was the other one? A little bit of Capoeira, and a couple of animal styles of Kung Fu. My stand-up game is fair. No, in my old age, I would say it's fair. I'm not going to say it was like when I was like 15 where my shit was just devastating. Now, 47, so it's fair. I can handle my own. No one bothers me. So I will say this though, in the event that someone does bother me, I'm fully capable of adapting in the midst of a fight. Right? And I'm fairly healthy for my age. So, that's like the seventh and most important part, if not the first and most important part. You're healthy, or your health, and your ability to recover and adapt is very, 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 very important. Now, honestly, I haven't been in a fight in a very long time, so we're going to, that's me knocking on wood, to make sure I don't talk myself into another fight. But your ability to adapt, your ability to use what's around you, your ability to adjust is everything. And if you can't, then you're going to have some issues where it's going to hinder you in battle. And you don't want that. You don't want anything that's going to hinder you in battle. Because that's going to be the deciding factor, honestly. It's going to be the deciding factor on whether you win, lose, or draw. Well, anyway, if you guys want to see that, it's martialarts_worldwide. And if you think you can break that down better than me, knock yourself out. But I'm going to tell you from a fighting experience and point of view, you have to be ready. And you have to know that your adaptation is everything. You have to understand where you are at all times in the midst of that battle. You have to. Because if you don't, you're going to find out real quick. It sucks to have your ass beat. It sucks more when you can't recover or when you're down so bad that there is no coming back. No. Half past the monkey's ass. I couldn't resist that. I'm sorry. But yeah, I could have went all out and said it's morphin' time. But I was focused on y'all, so that kind of did me in there. But it's really important that you learn how to adapt in a fight. It's really important that you know where you stand and know how to fall, how to adapt, how to adjust, how to recover, how to get your shit together when it goes down. No. Because if you don't, you're going to be in a world of hurt. No. And like I said, that video that I showed you guys, it's awesome. I'm not knocking these skills at all. They're great skills. Usable, yes. Practical, no. Probable, yes. But in an actual fight, I don't recommend anything. After she jumps on him and has him in that lock, keep the lock. Keep the lock. Because you got a better chance of tapping him out while he's like barely able to move versus rolling him on the ground and trying to ground and pound him. Because you can ground and pound the shit out of some people and they're just super tough and the only thing you're doing is pissing them off. You don't want to do that. Now, before I go, the most important thing of a fight is really, really calm and simple. If you lose your head, you lose your fight. Enough said. Excelsior.